Have you been repeatedly rejected or disappointed? Colonel Harland Sanders, the man behind Kentucky Fried Chicken, certainly did. But he didn't simply make lemonade out of his misfortunes. He made the world a better place. And we mean it literally. Can you imagine a world without your favorite KFC fried chicken? Well, stay tuned as we talk about the story of how this 65-year-old man started the world's famous finger-licking good fried chicken, KFC. Harland Sanders was born in Henryville, Indiana in 1890. His father died when he was 6 years old, leaving him to cook and care for his siblings. He dropped out of school in 7th grade and left home to work as a farmhand. Harland Sanders lied about his age to serve in the United States Army at the age of 16. After being honorably released a year later, he was hired as a laborer by the railway. He was dismissed though for fighting with a co-worker. He studied law while working for the railway until he lost his legal career by getting into another brawl. In the coming years, he tried his luck in many professions. He worked as a streetcar conductor, insurance seller, railroad fireman, steamboat operator, tire seller, and a lawyer. He tried other jobs as well, but didn't succeed in any. Sanders was compelled to return home with his mother and take a job selling life insurance. And once again, he was dismissed for being disobedient. But this guy refused to quit. He established a ferry boat company in 1920. Later, he attempted to use the proceeds for his ferry boat business to start a lamp manufacturing firm, only to discover that another company already offered a superior version of his light. He couldn't seem to get a break. He didn't start serving chicken meals in a service station until he was 40 years old. In 1930, Sanders got a job running as a gas station in Corbin, Kentucky. He prepared and served food to his clients to supplement his income. He offered fried chicken and other childhood favorites there. People from all around came to try this cuisine as news spread about his cooking. Because his chicken was so popular, he finally removed the petrol pumps and transformed the gas station into a full-fledged restaurant. The governor of Kentucky bestowed upon him the rank of Kentucky Colonel in 1936. By 1937, he had extended the business to include a hotel and a cafe, Sanders Courts and Cafe, with seating for around 142 people. It took around 30 minutes to make fried chicken, which was a huge issue for Sanders because fried chicken was his best-selling menu item. To solve this issue, he utilized a pressure cooker instead of deep frying the chicken, reducing the cooking time to 8 to 9 minutes. This assisted him in selling more fried chicken. He kept experimenting with his chicken recipe. He ultimately refined the fried chicken recipe in 1938. The formula comprised 11 herbs and spices that are still kept secret by KFC. The altercation with a rival led to a gunfight when he began to market his meals. 4 years later, the hotel burned down along with his restaurant. Colonel Sanders attempted to franchise his restaurant after the war, but before anybody accepted his recipe, it was rejected 1,009 times. His business struggled on and faced another setback in 1955. An interstate bypass was created on the roadway, reducing the number of people that used it. Sanders was eventually forced to sell his Corbin property. Sanders was 66 years old and had to live with a $105 monthly Social Security payment, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Sanders had another idea: franchise his Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe. Colonel Sanders had previously created the groundwork when he successfully licensed his formula to Pete Harmon in 1952. Don Anderson, a sign painter employed by Harmon, came up with the name Kentucky Fried Chicken. Sanders loaded up his car with pressure cookers and a combination of 11 herbs and spices and set out across the United States. The 66-year-old traveled across the country, stopping at eateries along the route to provide samples. He arranged franchise arrangements with restaurant owners after they sampled the samples, which normally included a 4-cent commission on every piece of chicken sold. Sanders promised to show them how to create it in exchange. By 1963, he had signed his first franchise deal with a restaurant in Utah, and there were 600 Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants across the United States. But the company was too large for Sanders to handle at his age. Many others wanted to acquire KFC from Sanders, but in 1964, he sold the company to a group of investors led by John Y. Brown and Jack C. Massey for $2 million. Harland Sanders sold it on the terms that quality would always be maintained. He would earn a lifetime income, and he would always be the company's face. By 1970, the number of outlets had risen to 3,000 in 48 countries. Brown sold KFC to Hoy Blind, a food packaging and beverage firm, for $285 million in 1971. Harland Sanders passed away in 1980. At the time of his death, there were 6,000 KFC locations in 48 different countries. R.J. Reynolds, a cigarette company, bought Hoy Blind in 1982 and sold KFC to PepsiCo for $850 million in 1986. Many new items were introduced after the company was acquired by PepsiCo. In 1991, the name KFC was officially adopted. In 1997, PepsiCo established Tricon Global Restaurant Incorporated as the new name for its restaurant division, which comprises KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. But in May 2022, this united company then reopened as Yum Brands. Large fast food corporations are no strangers to controversy. In 2014, a story reappeared on the internet that KFC was not using natural chicken, but rather was making genetically modified birds to get more meat. This rumor was later disproved. Another issue came up when Pamela Anderson, an animal rights activist, revealed what goes into creating a KFC bucket in 2008. She attacked KFC for animal abuse alongside people for the ethical treatment of animals. KFC reacted by noting that they make all efforts to avoid any type of animal abuse. KFC has faced several issues and continues to do so to this day. To stay up with the changes, KFC has added a range of meals to its menu to appeal to a wider audience. Countries such as India have produced a variety of vegetarian cuisines. Similarly, KFC has tailored its cuisine to the nation in which it operates. KFC now has 22,600 locations in 135 countries, with a brand value of $8.3 billion and revenues of $27.9 billion as of July 27, 2020. KFC's brand value is ranked 96 in the globe. The firm is also experimenting with plant-based meat and aiming to boost its expansion via the use of technology. Despite being fired from many jobs and being pushed back, he never gave up. Colonel Harland Sanders would not be defeated by anything or anyone, and we should all strive to be more like him.